Listen, I'm
I've
going to
heard.
react and be the way that I want to be with my team. Like I tell people all the time, like, don't tell me how to react. Don't tell me what to say. Like I invest time and emotion and energy into the Dallas Cowboys. So if I'm pissed off with Dak Prescott on a particular Sunday, I'm going to vent and post about me being pissed off with Dak Prescott. If I'm feeling him the next Sunday, cool, I'm feeling him too. Like
Right.
this is an up and down relationship with me and the Cowboys.
Tell
Okay,
me
I
about
tell
it.
people that
Tell
all
me
the time.
about
I'm the emotional Cowboys fan. We're up and down. It's cool. You'll see. You've seen it before. The tweets is all over the place. Okay.
This is Hog Farmer Chris and the 2022 Commanders Fan of the Year. Before you listen to Redzone in the Lab podcast, I want to thank you for your support and bringing awareness to the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation, which helps children and their families affected by pediatric cancer. You truly make a difference. And with that being said, please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube.
Welcome back to Redzone in the Lab podcast. I am Deuce, and entering the lab today is the Ashley Baker. What's good, Ashley? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me on. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
most definitely, man. Like, it's been a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember last year, like we used to do the Twitter space, and that was kind of new. I didn't think I came on Twitter space until maybe like April, like right after the draft. And spaces is spaces, right? And then here all of a sudden, like Sports After Dark. I was like, who is this? Like, who is this? I said, let me look her up on Instagram. I said, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Let me reach out. I was like, Ashley, come on, before you get too big. Before
Oh my
you get too
goodness.
big. And
Oh
then
brother.
and really like this past year, just kind of like watching you grow. Like that's what we're gonna talk about because you you've been on the move, man. Like you've been doing so many different things, and especially in the community, looking out for other people that you've met on spaces to give them a platform. And that's the route that I try to follow. Also, it may not pay lucrative or any of those things, but just giving someone an opportunity to do what they believe they love. Like I tell people, look, you might want to do this,
For
but
sure.
before you go spending $1,000 on equipment, like do a couple episodes first. You know what I'm saying? But who is Ashley Baker? Let's start there.
Well, first of all, Spaces, right? Oh my goodness. Like Spaces has come a really long way, to be honest, man. I mean, we'll get into that. I really didn't expect Spaces to be what they were, or for me to even have found a lane in Spaces. But Ashley Baker is I'm not gonna tell my age. I was going had like this whole spiel as a blank woman. Nah. I'm good. So Ashley Baker is born and raised in the DC area. Um, a mom of two beautiful children and a believer in my Lord Jesus Christ. I should have started there.
Amen. Yes.
Okay, hello. And
No, you see it. You see it right. Oh, this side. You
yeah.
see
Oh,
it right.
absolutely,
Most
absolutely.
definitely.
She is a loud, outspoken, strong woman in sports, man. You know what I mean? This journey has been nothing short of amazing. And again, as I mentioned, like all glory to God, because it's just places I've been, people I've been around, rooms I've been in that has had my name in, and I haven't even stepped foot. Like real talk. Just this is nothing short of this is all God. This is nothing to do with me. Real
Right.
talk. But obviously, you got to put the work in. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And uh, shout out to my mentor, Michael Lau, Brian H. Waters. Those two guys from the beginning definitely pushed and forced me to make this dream of mine a reality. Coming out of high school, and this is a fun fact for those that don't know, I wanted to do astronomy. I love the study of planets and stars. I love all of that. And then one day in my astronomy class in 12th grade, I saw this guy, Johann, I think his name is like Galileo. He discovered one of these planets, and the man did it by just sheer math on the paper, just calculated where it was right there in the sky. That's where it was. And that's when I realized astronomy was not for me because, bro, I'm not pinpointing where no planet is at, bro, with just paper and pencil. And like, I'm not doing all that. So, but I've always had this crazy passion for sports. I grew up in a sports family. I had family outside of Dallas, Texas. My mom was born like 20 minutes outside of Dallas in Mineral Wells, Texas. So I grew up in a Cowboys household. My mama going crazy over those 90s Super Bowl from what I can remember. Don't. Okay. And ever since then, I just have always had the knack to talk sports, to analyze it, to debate it, to break it down. And that is who I am. And I I really, really, like you were saying, I don't, sometimes you get caught up in what you're doing and you don't realize like the
Hmm.
people that are watching you. So I do try to be very vigilant of what I do, the moves I make. But I am all about paying it forward. Folks gave me a chance when I just shouldn't have even been in certain rooms, like I'm saying,
Right.
like I was saying. So I appreciate you, for having me on. I'm gonna always, look out, especially you from the town. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yes, sir.
You in the city, so we gotta look out for each other. And it's
Most
enough
definitely.
for everybody to eat. So
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
never like this person where I'm not competing with anybody. I'm
Right.
competing with me. I'm
Right.
not. I would hope that people would give me a shot, just like I help folks out. But yeah, that's the long condensed version of who Ashley is a little bit, like the semi long version.
Yeah, man. I don't know if y'all noticed though, but she already put out there the reason why she's from DC in the area, but she's a Cowboy fan. Like she slid that in there.
Oh yeah, because you gotta you
You know what I'm
gotta you
saying?
gotta
Yeah,
make
yeah,
sure.
you gotta be careful, right?
Yeah, because I don't listen, I've been in this all my life, okay? I know what it is. I ain't from there. I don't need you see, you live in, you're a Cowboys fan. Let's be
Yeah,
very,
man.
very clear. I was born into this. Technically, I was born into it.
Yeah.
Technically. But yeah, it's crazy because it's like 5 of us in my family that are like Cowboys fans and everybody else is Commanders fans. My one lone cousin who just passed away earlier this year, actually,
Sorry to hear
he
that, man.
was a Bills fan, just randomly a Bills fan, just
Oh,
a
no, that
random.
happened.
Then my nephew, he's a random like Chiefs fan, and I'm like, but he hopped on the Mahomes, he popped on the Chiefs bandwagon before Mahomes was even in there. Like he was in
Yeah.
that Alex Smith days, and he only 13. I'm like, bro, like. So yeah, he
Some
was
had to
a
draw
Commander,
him.
man. Yeah, but you got listen. When you live in DC and you don't root for the Commanders, you gotta explain your
You
origin
have to. That's right. That's right.
because
Because
they
it's too
gonna come
many.
at you hard. They gonna come
Yeah.
at you hard. I
Yeah.
had to throw that in there. You saw that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
ain't
peeped
playing.
it. I peeped it. I peeped it. So like, um, content itself, right?
Yeah,
Let's be honest for a second. Like, especially for a woman in this area, like it's harder to move, right? It's harder to create your own path. It's harder to create your own lane. For you with the passion that you have, just talk on like the ones that's coming behind you. Because like when I first joined spaces, like when I tried just reaching out to people to come on the show, just talk sports, a lot of them was very apprehensive to come on, because how spaces could kind of be. So they figured that's how sports talk is. Even if they know sports, they're kind of afraid of it. You really have to search for women in this field to be able to talk sports. Like I talk about like you. I mean, it's tons of them. Jody, Lady E, Meg, Miss Jean. Like it's tons of them.
for sure.
If you want to put the work in to go find them and look for them. But for you, like, what was your journey like, and how would you encourage the little girls behind you that has that same passion as you had in school?
Yeah, so my journey was I I can be like sort of a perfectionist. And so like initially my initial like early on sports career, it was about trying to do everything to the T, to the book. And at the same time I ended up kind of suppressing my real self, like who I am, like why people like rock with me um, when it comes to sports and sports talk. So probably about 2.5 years ago, was it that long ago? Maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, I had a conversation with Vashti Hurt. She's the founder of the Carolina Blitz. She is amazing. And I happened to crossed paths with her very early on in my career, and I had this conversation because I was at a crossroad. Like I felt like I was kind of stuck. Like, all right, I don't know what it is I want to do. You know, I'm getting so many, you grab so many different opinions from so many people and trying to, and everybody means well, but trying to like stitch all that together and like make you. The conversation she had with me was be yourself. If you are so busy trying to be like everybody else, you're not going to stand out. You have to be you. Like I had people telling me how my hair should be and kind of earrings I should wear. Like, and it's already hard enough for women.
Yeah.
Just said, you know, so putting all these extra stipulations, I'm like, oh my life. So kind of once I had that conversation with her, it's funny because shortly after you kind of started seeing women walk in that I'm gonna be me light. And the
Yep.
first person that I can remember like looking at was Josina Anderson.
Yeah.
Her long nails, her fashion, and I'm like, she being her, she doing her, and she's a reputable individual in this industry. She's respected. Like, yeah. From there, I really didn't turn back. I didn't turn back, and I just started being me. I'm gonna give you hot takes. I'm gonna be loud. I'm gonna be boisterous. I'm gonna be passionate. It's only one Ashley Baker. I'm one of one. I'm gonna be me. You know what I mean? And ever since I had that mindset, I really have seen like the trajectory of my career really go up. And that would be my advice for the young girls coming behind me is just being yourself. It's cool to stay in your lane, but I'm all about owning it.
Yeah.
Own the lane that you are in and be unapologetically yourself. And with spaces, like I was saying, I didn't even expect for it to be that big. Mark Gunnels is my guy. I just knew that I wanted to be able to talk to a multitude of people at one time about sports. And I was never into Clubhouse for some reason. And
I didn't know what that was.
yeah, it's so crazy. Twitter just robbed Clubhouse.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But it was super convenient that I could be on an app and then still access this in the same app. See, that's what Clubhouse doesn't have is that I have to like shift apps where I can do everything on one app. And shout out to my guy Roscoe, 49ers guy. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Roscoe.
I mean, you see this flyer we're in front of,
You
right?
familiar with Roscoe?
Yeah, he's definitely
you hit him up, yeah.
He's definitely on the team. I mean, he's working on like 8 projects for me now.
Yeah, he's amazing, man. And so he hit me up one day. I guess he heard a couple of my podcasts, and you know, he was like, "Listen, jump into this space, talk about the women in the industry, blah blah blah." And ever since then, the spaces has just been a thing. And I hit Mark Gunners up one day, and I said, "I want to do a space. Let's just do a sports space. Let's do a top whatever sports space, my top list." And we've been rolling ever since, and came up with the name, and had a couple of guest folks in there, Joy Taylor, Ryan Clark, just so many different people. Was like, you know, even Joy Taylor when I first had her in the space, I'm like, well, what do you think? Because it's rowdy and it's rough and tough. And she was like, that's your lane. Stay there. She was like, I love that. She was like, I absolutely love it. Like, if that's you, do you. And I'm just taking the advice of my elders. You know what I mean? So be unapologetically yourself, own your lane, and be informed. It's okay to stand out. That's probably what I would like tell most people. And obviously keeping God first in everything you do. That's law.
Yeah.
That's law.
Most definitely. And just saying like unapologetic, like I think of Josina and I think of Jamel Hill as being the Allen Iversons of the industry, right? That just came in, gonna do what they want to do. They're gonna take the hits, but they're gonna keep on moving. And eventually it changed, and eventually it opened up doors for a lot of women to be exactly that, to exactly be themselves.
Exactly. I forgot about Jamel. That's Jamel Hill, absolutely, because Jamel was the reason why I'm like, Jamel I know I ain't at the level with Jamel Hill, but Jamel wear braids all the time. You know, that doesn't make her less educated or you know, respected in the industry that she in. And coming in, they will tell you all of this. This is the only way you can make it. This is the only way you're gonna survive. This is the only, and you know, again, having to already work 2 or 3 times harder in this field because you're a woman. Just be very, very careful on like who you honestly take advice from and who you listen to.
Most definitely. Look, on the other side of this, we're gonna get into some sports. Like we're
Yes.
gonna get into some Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? We gonna
Oh, the
talk about.
2023 divisional winners.
First, we're gonna go back a little bit, right?
Sure.
We're gonna talk about the center being signed by New England. We're gonna talk about that first, and then we're gonna get into a little bit more right after this. Before we get started with the podcast, I want you all to go check out You Grow Girl. That's Grow, GROW, written by a dear friend of mine, Jay Smith. It's for daily affirmations for Black women. It is filled with beautiful, colorful images of Black women and powerful affirmations. You can find it at Amazon.com. So, like, again, right? End of last year, Cowboys are great record, get into the playoffs. The same thing happens, right? When it happens, what's your initial thought about going into the off season? How did you want the off season to look?
I wanted a fresh start with the coaching staff. I've put a lot of this team's failures and success on the coaching staff. Like I don't do a whole lot of like cherry picking. If we did great, I'm gonna credit the coaching staff. If we did bad, I'm gonna credit the coaching staff. Dak Prescott has been in the league for 8 years. This is his 8th season. And I have always been. I mean, I just don't feel like that he has had 100% competency when it comes to coaching. He had Jason Garrett for what 4 years of his career. Then you had Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator, who can get you the stats you need, bro. Like those stats gonna roll in. He's gonna put the ball in the air. He's gonna make you a top high-powered offense. But when it's time to be situational, when it's time to have a backup plan, when it's time to audible or Omaha, he's not the guy. He's not the guy. And so that was my first reaction. I'm like, okay, bro, we gotta shake it up. And we all knew that he was in the running for like head coaches or offensive coaches and other teams, and we're like, take him.
Take him.
Just go ahead. Go. Kelly can go. Honestly, Kelly can go. And that was my biggest thing. I need to see something different at coaching. I want a tough, strong, big physical Dallas team back, to kind of like the teams that we had in the 90s that are tough and rough and physical and big and fast. Those are the things that I wished for most. Once that game hit 0-0-0 against the 49ers again for the second year in a row. Well, actually, the first thing that came to my mind was, "Damn, I gotta get on the space."
That's all it like. My goodness, like okay, so like spaces, right? You know, in this area, like I always say, like when you think about our rivalry, outside of the DMV, it doesn't really matter to no one else. But within the DMV, it's still a rivalry, right?
For sure.
So outside of spaces, like the Cowboy fans, I just cannot stand them, right? We just cannot stand each other. That's just facts, right?
True.
But in the spaces, it's the Giants fans. Like
Really?
I cannot stand them. You know what I'm saying? Because they have their little spaces now, and yes, they are worse than the Ravens because they have 3 different spaces going at the same time because they can't all get along, right? So, but that's what spaces do to you, right? Like that's what spaces do to you, and it's like when the game is
they
over,
hold you accountable.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Spaces hold you accountable because you rough and tough. They hear you throughout the whole season. You flexing your squad. You doing A, B, and C. And now when stuff hit the fan, now it's time to stand on that. You got to eat crow. You got to stand. So that was probably my first. Damn, I got to do a space. Yep. And if I can recall. People love to laugh at my pain. So if I can recall, I think that space pulled in like 500 people off the jump. Like it was like when I started it up, like 30 seconds in, it was at like 290. I'm like, like y'all this is disgusting. This is really disgusting. So of course, a million Niners fans flooded. Commanders, everybody was just in there. It's Dallas. Folks gonna want to see. But that was like my first bet. My first thought. Damn, I got to do a space, and then Kellen Moore got to go. And I need to see a whole different team. That was definitely my thought process leaving last season.
All right, so let's fast forward a little bit. Like
Yeah.
this is they let, of course, Kellen Moore left, right?
Yep.
So
Newest
now,
OC of the Chargers.
right, right. So now the guy, I just call him the guy, right?
The guy.
The guy's gonna be calling the plays. Let me know how you feel about this, Ashley. Right? Jerry Jones is put it in his hands. Say, okay, let me see what you can do. Right? Dan Quinn is always just hanging around. He's just hanging around. And I think because of Jerry, like, behind that closed door, he like, look, just stay with me a little longer. Let's see how this works. For somehow, y'all, if for some reason, like, if you all come out struggling, like the first half of the season, do you say a situation where McCarthy is gone?
I just don't know because the scapegoat is the new season. I'm sorry, the scapegoat is the new scheme. You know what I'm saying? We're running a West Coast scheme
Mm-hmm.
now. Kellen Moore isn't there. That's the scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Folks are still getting acclimated. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, we got new weapons, and I don't know. I know that my team has a tendency to keep people around longer than they should. That is what I do know.
Right.
Is that we keep
Right.
players and we keep coaches way longer than we should. So if I had to put my money on it, I honestly don't think that McCarthy is like in any type of hot seat. That theory that you've brought up though, what are you saying? Like Dan Quinn stay around and then he be head coach once McCarthy is out the door?
Yeah, I mean, or shake up, right? Like we know, like Jerry has been like we are like he hosts especially coaches around entirely too long. He has this bond with them. I don't know, they go on each other with cookouts and all that other stuff, family dinners and all that,
Sure.
weddings and all that stuff, right? So like I just don't see, like I thought he was going to be fired. Like I thought Jerry was going to everything, but
Last
I'm
season?
just thinking, yeah, this past year, right? So my thing is, I always for some reason think Jerry has someone on his mind. Like Jerry wants someone, and for my thing was is that maybe that person wasn't available this past year was the reason why he kept McCarthy around.
I think everybody's thought process or their minds immediately went to who, like Sean Payton.
Yeah.
We thought that maybe that would be the guy that he would bring
Mm-hmm.
in, but I don't. The only reason why I was skeptical about that is because again, the Cowboys typically have a really tight leash on whoever they have at head coach, and Sean Payton ain't
Yeah,
having
he's
that.
a loose
Like
goose.
you're
Yeah.
gonna, yeah, you're
You
not
can't
gonna
even wear bucket hats.
for sure. Like like you're not. Listen, you're not gonna put no leash around him, so
Mm-hmm.
that wouldn't have worked. They're good friends. They probably didn't even want to taint that friendship. You know what I'm saying, by mixing business in it. But I kind of knew like McCarthy wasn't going nowhere. Like I knew that. And again, this is now this is a prove it season. He's not going to be calling 100% of the calls, people. Like let's please.
Oh, okay. Talk to me.
Schottenheimer is there for a reason. Brian
Okay.
Schottenheimer is there for a reason. Okay, he's gonna be involved in the play calling, so it's not gonna be 100% McCarthy. But
Okay.
I am interested because one of the and again, even just with the different system, bringing the West Coast system, simplifying the offense so Dak can get through his reads. He can take what the offense is giving him. Like even that is, something different. I've read an article by Jory Epstein of Yahoo Sports, like they're doing, and I'm hearing that they should have been doing this. This is speaking. What I'm about to tell you is speaking to the incompetency of the coaching staff before now. Is now the wide receivers have to pay attention to that Prescott's step count. So if he take however many steps he take back is going to determine how fast the ball is coming out, and the receivers have to pay attention to that. That's something that they should have been doing. That's what I'm hearing from everybody. Like that's something that teams already have implemented. That's just happening in Dak's 8th season. That's crazy to me. That is crazy
Yeah.
to me. You know what I mean? And now they're trying to like alleviate the picks and alleviate, what I'm saying, tip balls or runners not running the route all the way or having to stop early. Like, what's that going to look like, right? To limit like interceptions to limit the turnovers. But that's something that should have been done. You know what I'm saying? So, but I will say with that and the other stuff that I'm seeing, there is a bit of a culture shift that I'm seeing with Dallas.
Okay.
There is a bit of, I'm seeing something different. So that's what I'm saying. Like things are so different. They could kind of use that as the scapegoat. So that's why I don't think he's in any immediate like danger of his job. I don't think he's in any trial. I don't see him on the hot seat this season. I just don't. I
I
don't.
tell you what, they are being more physical at practice, right?
That's Micah. That's right. Listen, when you're a good leader,
That's that DC thing, man.
that dog come out you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
it's true.
and it
Facts.
spreads to the other people around you. And that's exactly what Dallas needs, some nasty physical folks. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 years ago, going into Santa Clara, like the narrative was that we were nervous and we were scared. You know what I'm saying? Even though
That's
Jimmy
crazy.
tried to give that game to us, we were nervous, we were scared. Now they didn't walk into that game last year with any type of like nervousness or apprehension, but this year I think it's going to be at another level. Dan Quinn got the defense playing good, and that defense has the offense feeding off of them. So I mean, I'm excited to see what it's going to look like. It looked like it should look good. That's what training camp telling me, but I don't know.
Is like a lot of people is questioning Dak Prescott's leadership, but for me, every quarterback doesn't have to be a leader, and every quarterback doesn't lead the same way. Some people just do it on the field. Some people are vocal. It just kind of depends. But what's Dak Prescott means? What does Dak Prescott mean to this team?
Listen, I listen. That pissed me off sometimes. Okay, this is a team. Listen, I'm going to react and be the way that I want to be with my team. Like I tell people all the time, like, don't tell me how to react. Don't tell me what to say. Like I invest time and emotion and energy into the Dallas Cowboys. So if I'm pissed off with Dak Prescott on a particular Sunday, I'm going to vent and post about me being pissed off with Dak Prescott. If I'm feeling him the next Sunday, cool. I'm feeling him too. Like this is an up and down relationship with me and the Cowboys. Okay, I tell people that all the time. I'm the emotional Cowboys fan. We're up and down. It's cool. You'll see. You've seen it before. The tweets is all over the place. Okay, 1 minute they get on my damn nerve. The next minute I'm crying in front of the TV because they done pulled off some miraculous win, right? Dak Prescott is there is something to be said about anybody that is a quarterback that plays for the Dallas Cowboys, because the level of scrutiny that position holds on that team is out of this world. The level of expectation, the pressure, all of that. And I really think that Dak does it with a lot of grace. I really think he does. Like, I've had the pleasure of being in the locker room with him and of obviously seeing him up close and personal at games and a couple of different events, and he's a really nice guy. The man has been through, I don't even think Dak is 30 yet. You know what I mean? And the things that he has been through with losing his mom and losing his brother and, his grandmother passed not too long ago and having to deal with being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, the face of, he's had 8 years to get over it at this point, but he was not supposed to be the face of the Dallas Cowboys. That's not why they drafted him.
That's true.
Tony Romo to be around.
That's
and
true.
To have to take that crown, like he's done it gracefully. These guys really do rally around Dak Prescott. There's not a person that I've ever heard in the locker room that don't care for Dak. Even folks that have gone and left, I've never heard them talk ill of Dak. And again, he's a young man. Like he's a young guy. Like he's not an older guy. He's not a guy in his 50s that should know this stuff already. I think he's doing the very best that he can. I absolutely hate the hate that he gets, because that energy ain't everywhere else, and I am not going for it this season. I'm shooting first. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm adding at networks. I'm adding talent. I'm doing all of that because enough is enough. Like the bullying, the unrealistic expectations that y'all put on him, but don't put on somebody like Josh Allen, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they made a big deal about him not being able to read defenses, but they didn't say anything when Patrick Mahomes uttered those same words. Who's a first round pick, by the way, and not a fourth round. Like I can go down the list of and they do it with Lamar Jackson. They do it
Oh
with Lamar
man,
Jackson as well.
I you just don't know how bad I want him. You don't know how bad I want him to succeed, man. I just don't know how bad I want him to succeed.
They do him wrong. I just want that same energy for Dak because and this is gonna ruffle a little feathers. Feel free to clip this. That same energy of wanting him to succeed that you have for Lamar, and I'll take your bias out of it because you're a Commanders fan. Obviously, you're not looking for Dallas to have too much success to an extent, but it's not that same energy for Dak because he doesn't look like us.
Yeah, like us. Exactly. That's true.
He is us, but he don't look like us. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. Definitely. Patrick Mahomes is us, but he don't look like us. So
now his dad.
The energy be different. We're just gonna keep it a bean. The energy be different. The same way that the Ravens fans is clamoring for Lamar Jackson to be respected, and he's a black quarterback to ABC. I'd be like, what the hell is that same energy for that? I never hear y'all coming to Dak's defense ever, ever, because he don't look like. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So I all in all, I think that he means a ton to this team. They feed off of him. He is a leader, like you say. He just lead in different ways. And I think he's doing the best he can, man. Like what?
Powder Jacket Ashley, she's coming. Winter is coming. Winter is coming. Winter is coming.
That's one of my favorite shows, man. Yeah, I was watching that last night. I binged that for real, for real.
Hi, I'm Christian Miles, native Washingtonian and real estate agent servicing the Washington metropolitan area. I started my career as an investor and later transitioned to the residential side. I really wanted to leave the investor side because I wanted to connect with people. Building relationships is important to me. I understand the buying and selling process can be challenging. I get it. I've been there. I'm a mom, wife, friend, and neighbor. I absolutely love helping families and connecting with people. Going through the home buying and selling process is stressful enough. When working with me, I make it fun. As a realtor, I think it's important to be able to connect with you. Every detail is important, no matter how small. Let me take care of the heavy lifting while you focus on the joys of finding a new home. Something I live by, people may not remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. With me, it's an experience.
We're back! Welcome back to Redzone in the Lab with Deuce.
The rest of the roster, right?
Sure.
What concerns you?
My kicker. Oh. I don't even know the man's name. His first name is Brian. I don't know the last name.
Oh man, like my cousin is a Cowboy fan, right? I mean, he was a Redskins fan. We were small, then he ended up becoming an Eagles fan because of Ronald Cunningham, and then we were sorry he ended up becoming it. So now he's a Cowboys fan. But he sent the clip, said his wife got him a birthday gift to his teams, for his favorite teams preseason game, and it was the Texans versus the Ravens. So like that's a whole nother story. So I don't know where we are right now with him, right? So it's always the kicker. Always the kicker. Like when we talk, the first thing he always talk about in a lot of those tough losses is the kicker.
It wasn't a problem when we had Dan Bailey. Let me be very clear. When Dan Money Bailey was, it just hasn't been the same since Dan Bailey, and it's funny, ain't it? Like I have never been this excited about a defense that my team has. I have been waiting to be able to brag about my defense. I do it. If I'm a brag, I be bragging about that defense. And I've always wanted Dallas to be on one accord. Like some years we've had decent defenses, but the offense was trash. Or some days, most of the time the offense is clicking, but the defense ain't where it is. And I feel like for the first time this year, I don't know what happened that
That's that
first year.
spaces pause, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. We're still here, people. I don't know. Adjust we're still here. Don't turn down. Listen, I don't know what happened with that very first year. That first, because Dan Quinn has been here 3 years. His first year. We still had Amari Cooper. Again, I have to chalk that up to just execution of plays and situational football play calling. I'm going to chalk that to that. But this is probably the first year because our offense just wasn't where it was supposed to be last year. Losing Amari Cooper, our wide receiver room was not what people thought it was. Again, we had a top offense because, again, Kellen Moore is going to get you them stats. Yeah. That's cool. But I feel like this is the first year where the offense, even the depth that we have on our offense is a top roster in the league, bro. And then you couple the defense, Michael Parsons, oh my goodness, Gallimore, Trayvon Diggs, DeMarcus Lawrence, Odigizua, Neville Gallimore, LVE, Overshown, Mozzie Smith. Like, I can go down. Like, we can get busy with it. Deron Bland, Nashawn's right. Like, that defense, and this is starters and depth. Like, definitely, these guys, like, the depth is crazy. The special teams is good. Everything is looking great. But I can't, well, not all of the special teams, because that includes the kicker. The kicker situation, I cannot afford to walk into this season with everything clicking. And if I need you to get me a field goal to end the game, damn it, from 42, and you can't do it, that's going to grind my gears. That's going to grind my gears. So hopefully we figure it out. I'm hearing that it's a kicker thing around the league, though. Like, it's some. Like, people are having an issue with kickers.
We have a competition. Yeah, we have one. We have a guy they brought in. What is his name? We have Joey Sly, right? That's our main kicker. And then we brought somebody in for competition. And the thing is that he was the Lions. The blanking, I forgot what his name is, but the Lions cut him. He was the Lions. The Lions cut him. So the thing is, Sly can. Like that Eagles game, like he can make it from 50 plus, no problem. He can make it from 50 plus, but PATs, you just like you gotta pause it. Like you gotta pause the TV, right? And then you gotta wait and fast forward to see if he makes it or not, right? That's what you gotta do with him and point and PATs, right? I mean, that's just what you gotta do, man. And this other guy they brought in, he's good, closer. But he doesn't have any leg power. Like, he could barely get any touchbacks. He didn't have a lot of touchbacks last year. I don't know what the.
Can you only keep one kicker on the field? I mean, on the roster?
No, you can have 2.
Oh, right, duh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got one of each.
Yeah.
When it's close yardage, you got to put that other guy in.
Because I remember back in the day, they would. Remember, they would have someone in just to do kickoffs or whatever.
For sure.
But because of the new kickoff rule, I mean, just watching it in the preseason, it don't look like many teams is doing the whole fair catch thing outside of the end zone. So that's going to be something to watch. But I think it's going to be Joey Sly because, he's the better overall kicker because he can kick with deep, right? And that's what we need. Like last year, we was in the red zone a lot, you know what I'm saying? But we just couldn't finish. And it's because of him and all this other stuff. But this is my show. We're not going to talk about.
Nah, you good. Let's listen. It's NFC East talk for real. Like I need to know what we up against. I need to know the competition. I'm staking out. I want to stake out right quick. You hear me? I'm gonna get some intel. Yeah, but kicker is a concern.
It's a problem. It's definitely a problem. Yeah. Everybody's probably have an extra kicker in. But like our punter, Pro Bowl punter. So like that's not an issue. But it's just our kicker, man. Like I can't let the game play and flow when he's on the field. I just gotta.
Our punter Brian Anger is great. Our punter Brian Anger is great, but he doesn't. He's not. Can't do field goals. Like, nah. So yeah, that's the issue that we have right now. It's the only thing that concerns me.
All right, so we already know you love the D. I think Michael Parsons is ready for that defensive player of the year, especially if he can stay healthy. Got a little dinged up last year, and it kind of looked like Quinn, was kind of being more cautious of him later in the year, bringing him in on more passing packages. But beginning of the year, I think he's probably going to be full go. But one of the other things that I kind of on the offensive side is with the offensive line. Where are you guys there with the offensive line?
Well, one of the biggest things we just did is we just signed Zach Martin back. So our all-pro right guard needed Zach in
I'm
the
quite sure
trenches.
Jerry sent them that $750,000.
Yeah, Jerry's gonna take care of
right?
that. And also, I gotta stop listening to Jerry. Let me give y'all a heads up. Stop listening to Jerry Jones, bro. He's a mouthpiece. He is there to cause controversy and make y'all. That it wasn't a doubt in my mind that Zach Martin was coming back. Yeah, like that would be ridiculous. There's no signs of regression there. If he say what he want, give him what he want. Honestly, like he has no flaw in his game.
Right.
So Zach Martin is back. Ball is cool, but you gotta go, bro. We're gonna take big Zach Martin. I think prayer circles, we all just hope and pray that Tyron Smith can stay healthy the entire season. We have a great, decent center in Tyler Biotish. Tyler Smith, this is his second year, so we should see a jump in his game. And Terrence Steele.
So where are those two guys going to play? Is who's going to be the left tackle? Who's going to be the right tackle? Between Tyron Smith, right? And
so I think they're both going to be on the left. They're both on the left side. Yeah, so I think if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, I think that they're going to have Tyron at left guard.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have
y'all were real good when he was there.
Yeah, they're gonna have him at guard and have Tyler at tackle.
Yeah, but he's a good like depth guy if something does happen. But
that's right.
We say we don't never want no injuries,
for sure. That's one thing. That is something that is a bit of a concern to me now that you kind of say it. We don't have a ton of depth on the offensive line. So if somebody like last year we had it enough where we could kind of like rotate guys out, plug and play if Tyron go down. That's why in the draft, that's kind of what I expected us to kind of address is the offensive line. I thought that we were going to probably go out and get like Steve Avila. I think that he, would have worked good on our line, but we didn't. We grabbed Mozzie, and that's okay because Mozzie was in need. We got to be able to stop the run, and he's going to help with that. But that does concern me a bit. Our depth on our offensive line, the depth on the offensive line is a concern. But right now, we healthy, we Gucci, we good. We could stop playing Tyron today for real. He don't need to touch the field again. No more training, none of that because he got hurt last year. Like training camp, no, we don't need it.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
Pollard. All right. So the running back room. Of course, we saw Zeke went to New England, but you have Pollard. You drafted Chucky, right? Little guy. Can Pollard be every down back?
Can he? Probably. Will he? No.
Okay.
He'll certainly be eased in. He's coming off of the injury. We're gonna have to see what that looks like.
Because I doubt if he plays. Has he been back to practice?
Oh yeah. TP look good. TP been out there looking good. TP is looking good, but he's not going to be like the workhorse. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to worry about him being the workhorse. We'll have Deuce Vaughn in the background. We'll have, Ronald Jones. He's going to be around. So, we have a pretty serviceable running room, and those guys can also catch passes. So we'll be able to extend the run game into the pass game. So I'm excited about that. So I'm pretty confident about the running room. There again, it'll be like a three-head monster back there. You have the veteran leadership and Ronald Jones once he comes back from suspension. I think his injury, like he's good on the injury front. He's been practicing or whatever. So we'll have him. You'll have Tony Pollard. Again, we're going to ease him back into things because of the injury. And then that boy, have you seen? Let me tell you something. Have you seen Deuce Vaughn's legs? Oh my God.
He's gonna be
one leg is bigger than my whole body.
He's gonna be a pest, man.
He's going to be. He come out of nowhere. He just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's going to blow me for sure.
Come out of nowhere.
I already know it.
He's gonna blow your life. But check it. Here's the thing. People want to use his size as they think that that's going to be a disadvantage, and he's going to use it to his advantage. Like they're going to sleep on it, and he going to cook you every time. So you need to watch out for Deuce. Deuce is a beast, man. He really
been
is.
the smallest dude
He
all
was
his
better
life.
statistically than Bijan was last year.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, a lot of people were, but we ain't gonna talk about that though. Exactly.
Bijan's a weapon. Bijan said he's more than a running back. He's a weapon.
Yeah. He ain't gonna get paid like one, but that's another conversation. So like, all right, so wide receivers, right?
Yep.
What I like to call the NFL whore in a sense, right? Yeah. Have him, sign him, right? He
That's
can
crazy.
definitely
Not too much on Cooks. Not too much on Brandon Cooks, man.
He can definitely get you a G, right? He could definitely get you that. But do you think he's going to help out CD Lamb? You think CD Lamb is going to be able to kind of like move up the charts to be that wide receiver that we always know of coming out of Dallas?
I think so. I judge you being wide receiver kind of based on the attention you get. You know what I'm saying? Like the respect you demand.
Yeah.
And I think that, he's going to see a lot of double teams this year because the moment the ball touches hand, now you got to worry about he has great yak ability. Once CD gets the ball in his hand, good luck getting him down. Good luck catching him. He's very fast. Y'all know how he is. I know that he's been working on, even before Coop left, Coop was working on him with the route running. That has gotten better. He's definitely tapped into that, of course, over in the off season. So I think Brandon Cook's addition is definitely going to, elevate CD into the next level. And also he can learn some stuff from Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks has 6 1,000-yard seasons. That ain't for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're definitely going to want to learn from that. So yeah, for sure. I think that that'll definitely be the case.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like we always talk about our NFC East wide receivers, right? I mean, except for the Giants. I mean, they're not in this conversation. But like one of the things that separates like CD and Terry is exactly that, like him being able to make moves and with the yak after the catch. Like Terry is more straight line, right? You catch him on a slant. Yeah.
Oh my God.
On a slant or something like that. Like if you give him a little lane, he's definitely going to take it to the house. But CD can move, like he's a little more twitchier than Terry is for sure. So I like CD. I like the wide receivers. I think they can take a step up, and I'm definitely going to delete that out.
Don't delete that. Don't delete that. You hear that? Clip it. Y'all hear the boy Bush? This was a space. I clip it right now. That's crazy. Don't let me put my phone there. Say it again. Say it one more time. Say it one more time for the people. This is crazy.
But overall, where do you see you all? Okay, I mean, you started the show off saying number 1 in the division 2023. So, how do you see the whole division playing out?
I don't see 3 teams getting into the playoffs this year like last year.
Okay.
The Giants were a surprise, but I think as much as a surprise they were, we all knew that the Giants weren't that good. And eventually that stuff starts to reveal itself as the season goes on. I think they started like 6-1.
Yeah.
And what they end?
9-8?
You know what I'm saying? Like it started to reveal itself at the end. I had the same teams that made it out of the division at 1 and 2 last season. It's just that this time Dallas will be winning the division, and the Eagles will be coming out as a wild card. So that's my opinion. I'm not going to reveal what I feel about y'all because it's your show. I'm going to be respectful.
Nah, go ahead. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Man, like, here's the deal. It's so funny because I was listening to a show today and it made me think. This show talked about tune into the Daily Tip. That's a betting show under BetQL, under Odyssey Sports. The Daily Tip. Shout out to them. Watch them 6 to 9 a.m. on Twitch. They talked about the Commanders and their ceiling and not making sure that we don't get the good vibes mixed up with what we actually see. New management, new ownership, Eric Bieniemy's in town. new quarterback, the vibe for real. I'm in DC, so you already know I was able to see how bad things been for the last 24 years for y'all. Like that's one thing that I can't. Football on the field, can't stand it, but to see this town go from a top sports town to what it had become, where I would go to games and the stadium is barely full. Like that's just that wasn't correlating for me.
Right.
So the vibes are dope, but we got to separate the vibes from what it might actually likely be. I'm thinking that y'all will probably be somewhere around 7-10.
That's
7-10, and I don't feel like that's necessarily a bad thing. It might take Eric Bieniemy a year or two, maybe 3, to kind of really get things rolling, and a lot of that is because
he has 1 year.
Yeah. Oh wow.
He has 1 year.
Wow.
Him and Ron, they have 1
Well, here's
year.
the deal. I've been asking people for the last year. Do you think Ron Rivera is overrated?
Like okay, so for me, like okay, so the 7, I'm not sure if they gave a floor or ceiling, right? Like the 7-8 is a floor to a lot of the fan base, right?
Okay.
I'm waiting till, like, we just did the bump with the Ravens and we played them on Monday night.
Yes.
I'm ready to give my predictions next Thursday, right?
Okay.
Always after the Ravens game, right? So, but a lot of people has that around the floor. 7-8 wins around the floor, 9-10 around the ceiling. Like there's so much that goes into that, because you look at our team, we have the weapons. Like outside of the vibe, just looking back at last year, right? We had the weapons, we had the defense for sure. We just didn't have the quarterback, right? And what we do know from what we've seen compared to him this year, this time, last year, this time, he's a much better quarterback. He processes much better. He puts the ball on the rope much better. He puts the ball where receivers is going to be, not where they at. He's not putting receivers in. Like the other guy, I don't even want to say his name. He got Terry hurt. He got Logan hurt. Like he got so many people hurt by throwing them ducks, right? So what we can say is the quarterback is better than what we had last year, right? And you actually teams like, yeah, that guy, right? So where the rest of the most of the NFL loves this guy, but they just don't know. I try to tell the Falcons fan all the time, listen to me. Right? There's already a Heineke hive developing down there, and
Heineke hive is insane. That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, we definitely have one.
That.
But like that's the thing though. Like, what can the quarterback do? Like, what is Sam Howell going to be? Because I think we have everything else, right? But it's Sam Howell, right? So all right. So the thing with Ron Rivera, if our ownership was in a stable condition, right? Any other team, ownership in a stable condition, he's fired this offseason. He's definitely fired.
This past offseason.
Yes, this past offseason. He's definitely fired. But because of everything that we were going through, the ownership, this, and that,
you got to pass.
He definitely got a pass, coaching staff, but he made a move. He fired Scott Turner, which he gave him an extension last year, so he's still paying him for the next 3 years, right? That's crazy. So he went and got Bieniemy. Like when we fired Turner, like all of my timeline, spaces, chats, or whatever, Eric Bieniemy was my number one. It made too much sense, and I can go down the line another day, but it just made too much sense. I didn't have a number 2 for offensive coordinator. It just made too much sense for both parties, right? So this year for me, you can't just bypass what you were supposed to do last year. So that means you can't just get to the playoffs and compete. No, you have to look at this as if you got to the playoffs last year and you competed. But this year you have to get to the divisional round and compete. You get to the wild card. That's not enough for me. Like, you have to be able to get into the divisional round and probably win it, depending on how Sam Howell looks the beginning of the year. And if not, you're it's time to start off new. Like,
wow.
Like, and you think about our owners, you think about Josh Harris, right? It's about championships, right? He just fired the guy that never wins championships, but he always gets to the playoffs. Like, that's not enough for him. And that's not enough for Magic, right? Like, it's not enough for Magic. Like, and a lot of people say, well, he only has, I think it's 3.5, like 3.74%, somewhere around there, stock in the team. But yes, that's money. But when it comes to his voice, he's probably managing partner, right? His voice alone, it means much more than the money that he put in. So yeah, man, like for me, Ron should have been fired this past off season. He got a pass because of our ownership. I've said that multiple times. And this year he has to win in division round. Like he has to win. If not, it's time for us to clean house. And I don't know what happens like in the whole Eric Bieniemy thing. Like people want him to be the next head coach. But if we're not successful next year, what makes you think they're going to want to retain, especially if the offense doesn't look right? Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of things. And then if we are successful, what makes you think they're going to fire Ron Rivera? So it's so much. It's so many storylines. It's so many storylines, man.
It's a lot. You're right. It's a lot.
So many storylines. That's why I just knew we was going to get Hard Knocks. It's crazy storylines.
Yeah, that's the NFL, man. That's the NFL.
Yeah. So is it like what's the what's the expectations this year? Like what's a failure of a season? I mean, I know you're America's team, so every year, win a Super Bowl is a failure, but
for sure.
What's your expectation to an honest fan? Like what's your expectations of the team?
Anything
or like what will make the season a failure?
Anything less than an NFC championship appearance is a failure to me.
Yeah.
We need to win the first 2 rounds. We need to be in an NFC championship game. That is trending upward for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's trending upward. I mean, we were able to, and we're trending in general, right? We, made it into the playoffs the year that San Francisco bounces, but the first year, but got there. Okay, cool. The next year we make the playoffs again. We get past the wild card round. We win our first game on the road in God knows how long. And we get send Brady packing. Who's my guy, by the way? Favorite player all time. So it's poetic for me. Like, okay, if anybody gonna send him home, it's gonna be my boys that sent him home. So that was dope. So again, it's trending upward. So next is I don't, there's not a big like, oh, it has to be the Niners that we beat. I don't care who it is that's standing between us and an NFC championship appearance. We just need to get there. And anything less than that, I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied.
There you have it. But I don't know if like end of January, I'm thinking I'm gonna be one of the first ones against in that space. It doesn't end that way.
That's crazy.
I definitely was there last year. Oh, I love the downfall of the Cowboys.
Of course you do. Whatever.
Because I have aunts that's Cowboy fans. Don't know a lick about football. Like, I don't even talk to them. No, like I don't even have conversations.
They like the vibes, man.
Yeah, they just Cowboy fans. That's it. Like they don't know nothing. They don't know. They just we beat them. When we beat them, it don't even matter to them because they not that really invested. So I can't win. Like it's a lose for me. You know what I mean? It's a lose for me. But man, this is that. There you have it, man. Ashley Baker. Like tell everyone where they can follow you and where you are, and this might take like 2 minutes, but just tell everybody what you do.
So as you mentioned, I have the Twitter space Sports After Dark. There's actually an expansion of that me and my 3 co-hosts run, and it's called Sports After Dark After Hours. Make sure that you guys subscribe to the Sports After Dark YouTube channel. We go live once a week. You subscribe, you'll get the notifications when we are live. We are currently doing every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, but that's going to change. We'll probably be moving to Mondays now, right before Monday Night Football. So it'll be kind of like a countdown show, which is pretty dope. So look out for that. Also, make sure you follow the Sports After Dark page on Twitter. That's Sports A Dark _. Join the community. We're always in the community, cutting up, having a good time. And make sure that you follow me. I'm at Ashley Baker _21 on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter as well. See, that was less than 2 minutes. Don't do that. Yeah.
For sure. And all of those handles and links I'm definitely going to have in the description section of this podcast. But again, thank you so much, Ashley, for joining. This has been fun. This has been a pleasure. Thank you again. And everyone out there, I appreciate all of you for listening. I thank you for watching. Remember, do it because you love it, not because it loves you. One beat, one sound, one heart, one love.
Thank you for listening to Redzone in the Lab podcast. Please subscribe to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Google, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Also, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Remember, do it because you love it, not because it loves you. One beat, one sound, one heart, one love.